If your homegrown lettuce turns bitter just before harvest, the mistake probably happened weeks earlier. And it was not the seed. In this video, I will take lettuce all the way from a packet of seed to a crisp bowl on the table and show you the 3 decisions that prevent bolting, weak transplants, and a one-and-done harvest. Stay with me, because near the end, I will show you 3 ways to harvest the same plant. One gives you a beautiful whole head, but another can keep producing leaves again and again. I will also show you the simple test that tells you whether a transplant has truly rooted without pulling it out of the ground. I'm Jack, and this is Jack Knows How. Let's begin where most lettuce success is actually decided, before a single seed touches soil. There are several main types of lettuce, and choosing by appearance alone can make the season harder than it needs to be. Romaine, sometimes called cos lettuce, grows upright with long, firm leaves and a crisp center. It is a very useful choice if you want structure in a sandwich or a Caesar-style salad. Many romaines also handle a little more warmth than delicate heading types, although no lettuce truly loves a hot summer. Loose-leaf lettuce does not wait to build one tight head. It produces an open rosette of leaves that you can begin picking young. For a first crop, this is often the most forgiving choice. It grows quickly, comes in green, bronze, red, smooth, and frilly forms, and it works beautifully with the repeat harvest method I will show later. Butterhead lettuce makes softer, tender leaves around a loose heart. It can be wonderfully sweet when conditions stay cool and moisture stays steady. Crisphead, the iceberg type, can make a dense, crunchy head, but it asks for a longer stretch of cool weather and more careful timing. If your spring changes from jacket weather to summer heat almost overnight, crisphead may run out of time before it finishes. So here is the first practical decision. If you are new or your weather is unpredictable, begin with loose-leaf lettuce or a small romaine. If you have a long, cool season, add butterhead or crisphead. And if a seed packet says slow bolting or heat-tolerant, that does not mean heat-proof. It only buys you a little more time. My grandfather used to pick lettuce while I was still waiting for it to look like the perfect heads in a grocery store. I thought he was being impatient. He told me, "The garden does not owe you a display. Take the leaves when they are good." I understand that now. Lettuce rewards timing more than patience. That brings us to the temperature decision, the hidden cause behind so many bitter harvests. Lettuce is a cool season crop. Around 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit, or roughly 16 to 21 Celsius, is comfortable growing weather for many types. As days become long and hot, the plant stops concentrating on tender leaves and begins preparing to flower. A central stalk rises, growth changes, and the leaves often become tougher and bitter. That is bolting. Work backward from your heat, not forward from a date printed on somebody else's calendar. In spring, sow early enough that the crop can mature before your regular hot weather. For fall lettuce, sow while it is still warm enough to germinate, but time the main growth for cooling days. In a mild climate, winter may be the easiest lettuce season of all. If the season is already warming, give lettuce morning sun and some relief from fierce afternoon heat. Shade from taller crops or a piece of shade cloth can extend the window, but shade cannot rescue dry soil. Lettuce has shallow feeder roots, and broad leaves lose water quickly. The goal is even moisture, not dust one day and a swamp the next. One more trick prevents the feast or famine problem. Do not sow your entire packet on one Saturday. Sow a small batch, then another roughly 10 to 14 days later, and continue while your weather remains suitable. That succession becomes several harvest windows instead of 30 plants demanding attention at once. Keep that thought, because it changes which harvesting method makes the most sense later. Now let's sow. You can start lettuce in cell trays or seed directly in a prepared bed or container. Trays give you control over moisture, spacing, and early temperature. Direct sowing saves a transplanting step and works especially well for loose-leaf rows and baby greens. For trays, use a clean, light seed starting mix that holds moisture but does not stay heavy and airless. Moisten it before sowing so the tiny seeds are not washed into one corner later. Fill the cells, settle the mix gently, and label the variety and sowing date before opening the packet. Tiny green seedlings have a talent for making confident gardeners forget what they planted. Make only a shallow depression. Check your seed packet because lettuce seed is small and some varieties benefit from being very lightly covered. A common practical range outdoors is about 1/4 to 1/2 inch deep. But do not bury tiny seed under a deep plug of compacted soil. Place 1 or 2 seeds where you want to plant, add a thin covering if the packet calls for it, and press lightly for seed-to-soil contact. Then water with a gentle spray or from below. A hard stream can move every seed you just placed. Keep the surface consistently damp through germination, but do not leave the tray standing in stagnant water. Bright light immediately after emergence matters. A warm room with weak light creates long, pale seedlings that lean and collapse. Cool conditions, strong light, and gentle air movement build shorter, sturdier plants. For direct sowing, rake the surface fine enough that a tiny seed is not lost between large clods. Make a shallow row, sow lightly, cover according to the packet, and keep that narrow band moist. Mark the row. Until lettuce emerges, it can be surprisingly difficult to remember which strip contains dinner and which strip contains weeds. After roughly a week, sometimes a little longer in cool soil, the first seed leaves appear. This is where our second important choice begins. Which seedlings stay? If several seeds germinate in one cell, compare them. Keep the seedling with the strongest upright stem, the best color, and the most balanced growth. Instead of tugging the others out and disturbing the keeper's tiny roots, clip the weaker seedlings at soil level with clean scissors. It feels wasteful for about 3 seconds, but one healthy root system usually produces a better full plant than 3 seedlings fighting inside one small cell. There is an exception. If your goal is baby leaf lettuce, a small cluster can be intentional. You can grow several close plants and harvest them young. The important thing is to decide. A crowded cluster is not a failed head of lettuce when baby leaves were the plan. It is a problem when you expected each plant to become a large head. As true leaves develop, watch the tray rather than watering by habit. Lift it. A light tray usually needs water. A heavy tray may not. If a larger seedling wilts because the mix became dry, water it thoroughly and give it time before declaring it dead. Lettuce can recover surprisingly fast. Remove leaves that are completely damaged, but do not confuse temporary wilt with rot. A blackened stem, foul smell, or collapsing crown is a different problem. Around 3 to 4 weeks, many lettuce seedlings are ready to move, but size alone is not the test. Look for several true leaves, a root plug that holds together, and a plant that is compact rather than stretched. Before transplanting, harden the seedlings by introducing them gradually to outdoor sun, wind, and cooler nights over several days. A plant grown in a protected room can be healthy and still be shocked by one sudden afternoon outside. Now we come to the stage that can either accelerate the crop or erase a month of work. Transplanting. First, choose the site with the coming weather in mind. Full sun can be excellent in cool conditions. In warmer conditions, morning sun with afternoon protection may keep leaves tender longer. Prepare loose, well-drained soil with organic matter. Lettuce needs fertility for leafy growth, but more fertilizer is not automatically better. Rich, balanced soil or a modest feeding is safer than dropping a strong, concentrated fertilizer directly against young roots. Second, decide what you intend to harvest. Loose leaf plants grown for repeated picking can sit closer than full heads. 4 to 6 inches may work for smaller leaf plants, while many full romaine, butterhead, and head lettuces need more room, often 8 to 12 inches depending on the variety. The seed packet is your best local starting point. Wider spacing usually gives each plant more root room and airflow. Closer spacing gives more young leaves sooner. Third, water the tray before removing the plugs. Support a cell from below and ease the root ball out. If roots circle tightly, loosen only the outside gently. Dig a hole about the depth of the plug, set the plant at the same level it was growing, and firm soil around it. Do not bury the central crown. That small growing point is where every future leaf must come from, and wet soil packed over it invites trouble. Fourth, water immediately after planting. This is not only a drink. Water settles soil around the root ball and closes large air gaps, giving new roots contact with the surrounding bed. If the day is unexpectedly bright or windy, temporary light shade can reduce stress while the roots begin working. Fifth, add mulch, only if it solves a problem. A light layer of clean straw, dry leaves, or untreated grass clippings can slow evaporation, moderate soil temperature, and reduce splashing. Keep it away from the crown and do not bury tiny plants under a wet mat. In cool, already moist weather, heavy mulch may hold more water than you need. For the first week, check the soil with a finger rather than judging only the leaf surface. Keep it evenly moist, especially around the original plug. Then look for the quiet signs of establishment: fresh central growth, stronger color, and leaves that recover quickly after a warm part of the day. Here is the rooting test I promised. After 7 to 10 days, place 2 fingers near the base and give the plant the gentlest upward resistance. Do not pull. If the plug feels anchored instead of sliding freely in the hole, new roots are reaching into the bed. One careful check is enough. Repeatedly testing a seedling is like checking whether bread is baked by opening the oven every minute. From here, the main job is consistency. Water before plants remain wilted for long periods. Watch underneath leaves for aphids and along damp soil for slugs. If hot weather is approaching and a center stalk begins to rise, do not wait for the plant to become more impressive. Harvest. The plant is telling you the leafy part of its season is ending, and now we reach the payoff. 3 useful ways to harvest. Method 1 is outer leaf harvesting, often called cut and come again. Choose the largest clean leaves around the outside and cut or pinch them near the base without injuring the small center. Leave enough leaf area for the plant to keep growing. This is my favorite method early in the season and for loose leaf lettuce. You take what is ready, the center continues, and the same plant can contribute to several meals. The key is the crown. Look directly into the middle and find the tight cluster of new leaves. Protect that growing point. If you damage it, the plant cannot replace the outer leaves normally. This is why random handfuls cut too low sometimes produce one beautiful bowl and no second harvest. Method 2 is a bulk cut above the crown. Gather the leaves loosely and cut across the plant an inch or 2 above the soil, high enough to leave the center intact. You get a larger harvest quickly without picking one leaf at a time. Regrowth may not look as perfect as the first plant, and its speed depends on weather and variety, but it can be an excellent middle-season compromise. Method 3 is the whole head harvest. When a romaine, butterhead, or crisphead reaches the size you want, or when heat is about to end the season, cut the plant at soil level. This gives you the clean head shape and clears the space for the next crop. It is also the right decision when quality is at its peak and waiting adds risk rather than value. So which method gives the most lettuce over time? Usually outer leaf harvesting, combined with successive sowings, stretches production the longest. But the best method is the one that matches the plant and the calendar. Early loose leaf crop. Pick outside leaves. Need a bowl tonight but want possible regrowth? Cut above the crown. Finished head or approaching heat? Harvest the whole plant. Take the lettuce to cool water soon after cutting, separate leaves as needed, swish them gently, and inspect folds and undersides for soil, slugs, or aphids. Then dry them well with a salad spinner or clean towels. Free water left on stored leaves speeds deterioration. Refrigerate the dry lettuce in a clean container or bag that protects it from drying out completely. A towel can help manage extra moisture, but replace it if it becomes soaked. And before you leave the garden, look at the date on your next succession tray. That is the real seed-to-harvest system. Choose a type that fits your weather, grow it cool and steadily, protect the crown, and start the next small batch before the current one disappears into the kitchen. If this helped, subscribe to Jack Knows How, and tell me in the comments, are you growing loose leaf, romaine, butterhead, or crisphead? And is your biggest challenge heat, slugs, or getting the seeds started? I'll see you in the next one. Until then, keep growing.